What a beautiful autumn day in Minneapolis for this, the 11th installment of Access to Art, produced by the Minneapolis Television Network to give you just a taste, just a hint of the remarkable range of arts activities that go on in our city. We're on Washington Avenue, just a little bit east of the depot outside of the Minnesota Center for Book Arts, where one of the events being hosted here today is the 24-hour comics event, where all these cartoonists get together. They start at 10 a.m. today and attempt to do a 24-page comic book in just 24 hours. We're going to go inside, talk to them a little bit, and discuss what else is going on in the arts in Minneapolis. Soo Visual Arts Center is a nonprofit dedicating to showing exceptional art and making it accessible and fun for as many people as possible. In their larger gallery recently, they hosted 2 artists from Miami whose exhibition included huge, fantastical inflatables in an interactive playground. Access to Art Correspondent Hamil Griffin-Cassidy, a guy I kind of know, attended that opening, as well as an exhibition in the smaller Toomer Gallery, which focuses on design, poster, and graffiti art. Editor Laura Stopyro put the piece together.
In the back room, you enter through a small doorway, which kind of constricts what you can see, so it's kind of like there were people actually afraid to go inside because all you could see was people's feet sort of being jostled around.
It's like a futuristic playground.
The installation is tons of fun. My children think art gallery openings are boring, and this has demolished that forever for them.
And what are you doing here tonight?
Playing.
Having fun?
Yeah.
I'm interested in the whole pop surrealism, lowbrow genre of art.
I think the group from Miami, Sam and like Ontario, have done some really very interesting experimental work.
Soo Visual Arts Center was named after the Soo Line, the railroad that used to run just a few blocks away through Minneapolis. I started the gallery here 6.5 years ago with the idea of opening a place that would make art accessible to everyone. Then trying to bring art to the community, some local and some work from out of town, to try and show what's going on in the art world.
This exhibit is called the Girls Brigade, and it's based on a group of girls that formed a children's army around the time of the Roman invasions of Britain. I don't really make a distinction between what people call high and low art, so while these may look like cartoons to some, they really represent the best way that I know how to really create the meaning of this work.
Definitely here to see the play aspect of things and sort of the youth to it.
She's got a very kind of pseudo-sexual, ambiguous, kind of haunting, but playful imagery.
We can't forget about the crickets over here, because crickets really hold a special place in my heart.
openings at Soo are traditionally a big event and lots of fun goes on. But this show in particular, because it's so viewer friendly and a DJ playing, there'll be food and drink. Part of the Friends With You philosophy is creating this sort of wonderland and this magical world. I think the idea of stepping into a new world and a little portal into that.
We're exploring like further like what we've been doing for a long time, which is like making like environments and artifacts.
They interact and play with our different sculptures and art pieces that we make. We're kind of able to bring them into our world and have a really good time with them.
It's really accessible work. It's really viewer friendly. I think this is something that anyone can enjoy, anyone can get something from. It's fun, but it also has some, a deeper meaning behind it. I think Minneapolis has a great art scene here. For a small city, there's a lot going on, and there's ways that everyone can learn from art.
Well, we're inside the Minnesota Center for Book Arts for a 24-hour Comics Day. We're going to see if Dano could speak with us without actually breaking from his drawing. Tell us a little bit about the event, how many years it's been going on, and what your involvement is.
This is the 4th year of 24-hour Comic Day. It started as a challenge by a cartoonist named Scott McCloud, and every year it's just been growing and growing, and more locations across the world actually are taking part in this.
Why, might I ask, arbitrarily 24 hours? Does any upstart come along and say, I could do my 24-page book in 22.3 hours?
Well, I just think it's the rationale that the standard comic book is 24 drawn pages, and so it's just,
So you get an hour a page.
An hour a page, because, most people take 24, like professional comic people take 24 days to do 24 pages. So therein lies the complete challenge to beat the pros at their own game, I guess.
And get grievously underpaid at the same time. Well, thank you very much, Dano. Good luck. What's it going to be like tomorrow morning at 9:30?
Very bleary-eyed, but most people will be happy because they will be done.
No real panic, just success.
That's right.
Thanks a lot, Dano. Back to work. Pangea World Theater has been producing plays since the mid-1990s. They're interested in bringing artists together from diverse backgrounds and disciplines to create a new aesthetic that'll be more relevant to our increasingly diverse population. To work toward this goal, they've created programs such as Indigenous Voices, Voices of Exile and Bridges. Access Art Correspondent Beth Peloff spoke to Pangea's artistic and executive directors about the Bridges program, which brings artists together to create multidisciplinary performance art.
Dance and movement being equal to the sound, equal to the vocals, equal to the spoken word. It's just a completion.
Pangea refers to that supercontinent that existed before continental drift happened, when the Earth's landmass was one.
The flow of projections based on the performance that's emerging from the river of our stories.
Bringing together the people from all over the world to create work together.
To go even further and know that I've got the support of each member of the group.
Deal with issues of social injustice, human rights, and at the same time create excellent art.
I'm one of the curators, one of the 3 curators for Bridges, which is a performance art initiative with Pangea World Theater. We are now working on a show called A Disease Called Freedom that includes projected images, live music, spoken word, storytelling, choreography, and dance.
The creation of Bridges came about to actually look at how people are collaborating. So we created this project to really create a safe space and a secure space to take risks, to collaborate with each other, and to have artists actually talking to each other across both ethnicities and disciplines. One of the most unique things about Bridges is that we use something called open space technology. It comes from the whole model of an African village, where people come to the marketplace, and in the center of the marketplace, there's a free exchange of ideas.
And said, "You will not run away again."
We actually make most of the decisions as an ensemble, which makes every decision messy and complicated and uncomfortable for almost everybody.
The open space process encourages a chaotic kind of thinking where there are no bad ideas. Everything is welcome into the space and things bubble along and something emerges.
Everything is possible, but nothing is set. So in a lot of ways, that's really wonderful. And oh, wow, it can be like anything.
For me, it's about everybody bringing to the table what they have to bring to the table, and all of the voices being equally important.
It's fun. It is fun. It does have its challenges.
As a dancer who knows that you have this much time and this much space and you have to be done by this and it has to be steps, sometimes it's maddening.
Well, I have input in the content and context and staging and any other good idea I can come up with, or bad, I'd offer it up. It all goes into the pot.
I'm pretty much a linear thinker. Enjoy having an outcome in mind before I make too many actions.
We're different personalities, we're different ethnic backgrounds, we're different expectations, we have, we're different generations.
What works for dance and what works for the spoken word and what works for poetry and music and sound and video. It's all these things we have to kind of meet each other in certain common grounds.
So there is this meeting up of strong minds, but ultimately what evolves is something which does not remain pure dance, does not remain pure poetry, and it forms a purity of its own.
Very rich, creative bed of metaphors and stories and sounds and opinions and issues and issues and issues.
We are trying to really search, can collaboration be a technique? Philosophical desire can be the essence of a technique, and technique does not fail you. Can we put the work in the center, even though there can be personal differences? I think there is no end to trying various ways to get peace, get to peace. Obviously, it's not easy, and Camp David is not providing solutions. So in Pangea, we are trying bridges to see if we can get to some nuggets of wisdom.
Steve, maybe you can tell me a little bit about the International Cartoonist Conspiracy, who they are, what they're up to, and why you founded them.
Well, it's a group that we started about 5 years ago. I put up posters in coffee shops and bars and stuff around town, and then we had a group of people who showed up, and it's grown immensely since then. Now we have cells in around 20 places around North America, and we are international. We have one cell in Canada.
The group is a key organizing entity for what? Getting the talent together for this?
It's mostly for just socializing with other cartoonists. We get together once a month and do jam comics at Diamond's Coffee in Northeast. And actually we just had a St. Paul cell start this month as well, which is meeting at Cosmic Coffee in St. Paul once a month.
When cartoonists socialize, as you claim they do, did they always make it a point to not speak with one another and draw pictures instead?
It's kind of anti-socializing, really. It's getting together in a group
I salute
and
you.
looking at paper and drawing.
People who paint signs on buildings are called wall dogs, and that's a term, I guess, from the 19th century. And a local wall dogger, Carol Burson, has been working with both Kingfield and Lyndale neighborhoods on a project that could include up to 8 murals on Nicollet Avenue by the summer of 2008. Recently, Access to Art correspondent John Aker went to 34th and Nicollet to speak with Carol and see dozens of volunteers working on a mural to publicize the project.
I'm here to bring art to the community and put a nice, beautiful mural up on the wall here in the Lyndale neighborhood.
And I saw them here yesterday morning starting to work on it, and so I came over and offered to volunteer.
And this is a joint project between the neighborhood of Lyndale and the neighborhood of Kingfield.
So many signs and things are done now, computerized, digitized, and we are trying to keep alive painting on walls.
I like to paint, and I love the idea of murals. I love walking past them. They make me smile.
I love to paint on walls. It's hard work, but it's just really very, very satisfying.
The woman on the scaffold there, Carol, is the artist who designed the mural, and she sort of tells everyone what to do.
So I talked to them about the paint, and we just asked people, well, you know, what do you want to paint?
They've got neighbors with all different levels of talent coming out here and just helping to do the beautification project.
Every time we've done an art show or an art project, it seems to bring people out.
I am an artist. I paint on my own. I'm into acrylic painting on canvas.
Painted my house, painted my rooms, you know, that kind of thing, but never this kind of work.
I don't paint, but I work at an art museum, so I'm involved with arts. I work at the Minneapolis Institute of Arts.
I love to paint, and it's a fun way to get to do something creative and be with other neighbors.
First of all, it's fun because everybody's just chatting while they're working. And it's just a nice way to meet some new people.
I painted a small version of the painting that's about 13 inches by 20 inches.
And then has blown it up so that we all have a small piece to look at and copy.
I'm working on flowers in a barrel and trying to sort out the rough outlines and turn them into actual flowers.
I think Nicollet needs some help, and I'm hoping that this will bring energy and excitement to improving Nicollet.
This was a big white wall that just had black spray paint on it that didn't look good.
Anything that makes it look like people are taking more care will hopefully decrease the vandalism.
There's a lot of ghost signs around Minneapolis, faded signs on the old brick buildings, and the guys that would paint them were called wall dogs.
This is our advertisement, both for the process and for what's going to come next July.
We'll be doing a couple of teaser murals this weekend so that people can get on board and really get excited about the project that we'll be having next July.
We'll be bringing wall doggers from out of town and you know, a combination of them and neighborhood folks, and painting up to 8 murals probably.
And I think it's just such a great idea to do all in one weekend, to do a bunch of murals. And it will bring more community together and get people excited about their neighborhood.
The wall dogs in general seem to do work that is old-fashioned in nature. So it just really seemed kind of neat that she would bring back the feeling of what used to be in this building, you know, so many years ago.
I really like Carol's design. It's a design that incorporates both history and diversity of the current neighborhood.
Well, it began with a photograph of what this building was in about 1915.
Well, I took it from there and using kind of the old style of the grocery store and putting in the bins with different kinds of food that people might eat now.
It's a good idea. To eat is to live. To live is art, because it's a pretty artful to have to live.
We've got a band coming, a group of high school kids who's coming to play. We've got some food that was donated, and we're just going to have a little party and hope that we draw some attention.
and it's good to everybody help to get that community goes closer together.
People are really fired up about this now. They understand how it's building community, and that people have been stopping by all day and saying, oh, this is so cool, and you guys are doing a great job, and it's engaged the people who live around here immediately. We've had business owners approach us and tell us that they're interested in murals.
It gives people a positive message when you're walking down the street. It makes you feel better about your neighborhood and community.
I think it helps people identify with the place and brings about pride in the neighborhood.
I think it gives people a little bit of hope to see that everything isn't computerized and that people actually get out there and put in all this hard work and make a beautiful thing.
I love the scale of it and the brightness of it, and just being able to have something I did visible to me every day outside.
I just think that we need more murals, and we need to get more youth involved in murals so that they can realize that you can do something beautiful on the wall, but also do it with permission.
I'm really glad they're doing this. I hope they keep doing it, and that the city gets more and more colorful all the time.
And here's Kevin Cannon, who has apparently some key distinctions in the world of 24-hour comic book art, and what might they be?
So Mr. Stephen Stwally challenged me to do a 288-hour graphic novel this time last year. And so what that entailed was doing one 24-hour marathon like this, but once a month for a year. So I started doing that, and it lasted 4 months, and then I gave up on the marathon bit, but I've still produced 24 pages a month. So I'm actually up to 288 pages right now, and I've got a couple chapters left to go that I've added.
It's difficult being any type of artist nowadays, but musicians, gadzooks, they have a tough time just being heard, finding any venue anywhere with just a chance of getting an audience someday. A local nonprofit fueled mostly by volunteers, Diverse Emerging Music Organization, or DEMO, helps these artists by hosting weekly showcases around Minneapolis, giving them a chance to maybe someday get a gig at a club or a bar. Access to Art Correspondent Laura Stopyro spoke with people who work with DEMO and visited some of the showcases.
I've believed for a long time that the Twin Cities is underrated as a music center in this country. I think there are more places to play here and more talent than I think you can find almost anywhere else.
You look at a lot of our shows, and there are a lot of showcases of new artists. I mean, we're fulfilling the function of giving new artists stage space.
So I book the bands, and I get the dates. I put all the shows together.
We're from Minneapolis, and just got done playing at Club Underground. You know, a lot of bands have a hard time sending emails to booking agents, and I went through that too, and not getting a response because there's no following. Demo does a great job of bringing in a lot of new talent and giving them an opportunity to play at clubs.
We've got 3 ongoing shows. We do weekly events at the Acadia Cafe on Thursday nights. We do weekly events at the Club Underground in Northeast Minneapolis on Wednesday. We do weekly events Tuesday at the Loring Pasta Red Room, which is the upstairs the Loring Pasta Bar. We've done over 500 events in the last, couple of years.
I first heard about Demo about 2 years ago. They had a showcase at the Acadia Cafe, and so I went and checked it out and emailed them to help me set up a show, and I got in on the showcase.
Getting high, feeling heavy, just back in the city.
We've done several shows at the Cedar Cultural Center, which I find to be one of the better of the local music nonprofits. We've done shows at Big V's, the Nomad, the Turf Club, the Ritz Theater. We got shows upcoming at the Ritz Theater, the Varsity Theater. We just did a show last weekend, Memory Lanes, the Bowling Alley. A lot of the Demo stuff started was based on what I did for 25 years prior to Demo existing. When we started the thing in 1999, It was kind of kicked out of First Avenue when I got let go in 2004. We changed the name. It was called DAMF at the time, Developing the Arts and Music Foundation. We didn't really change the paperwork. We changed the title because everybody thought foundation, like Bush Foundation, McKnight Foundation, had lots of money. We had no money.
I really have liked the demo thing. We've done a lot of demo shows. Like, it's really cool. It's a good way for new musicians to get out.
But now that it's a nonprofit outside of First Avenue, it's even weirder. It was basically a tool, just booking a single room, and now it's out. And actually, to have the bigger picture impact that I see it having, it had to get out of the room. It had to go out and find the neighborhoods. We've got always had a great staff of volunteers. Mae Young, who used to do the Drive 105 homegrown program. Actually, she's still involved in the homegrown program. She's just taken on the volunteer task of being the volunteer coordinator.
Demo, I think, is very important to the community as a whole because it trains the next generation of music industry, of the music industry. You can sign up at demomn.org. If you have either talents to lend or interests even in a whole bunch of different aspects of the music industry, including photography and videography, live sound, stage production. We're even looking for MCs.
There's just so much talent that it makes me really feel like Demo is doing something good for not just the arts community, but the general community by bringing this talent along.
The goals for Demo are beyond just developing new bands. That's why the second step to me is to actually take this music and make something relevant happen socially in terms of a positive impact in the community. The forest fire burns a faithful tree. Well, it is gone now, it's your destiny.
Thus wraps another episode of Access to Art, which you can see Tuesday nights, 8:30 p.m. on MTN Channel 17. We encourage you to call your council person, tell them how much you value cable access. Better yet, come to the studio, take a class, make your own program, speak up, speak freely, value free speech, and remember, plug into the arts.
What was that? That looks pretty good.
Hey, here's a Minnesota shirt in a sea full of North Dakotans. And she's happy and talking on the phone. We noticed that earlier. Nearly all of them were striding by with a regular pedestrian type of pace, so I don't know what game happened, but apparently nothing very dramatic happened because they weren't as drunk and rowdy as I'd be if, for example, the Vikings could even win 2 games. Oh, they did already. If they could win a 3rd game this season.